Very warm welcome to the Havelock Park as Havelock Sports Club hosts Navy Sports Club here at the Park Club. Interesting game on our hands here today. Havelock's finding their feet in the league, whereas Navy has put on some real good performance in the past couple of weeks. And joining me in commentary is Shanaka Amarasinghe. Shanaka, interesting game where we can expect tipsy-turvy kind of an affair between these two teams.
A little bit unpredictable Navy this season, Sudarshana. Glad to be on air on this Friday night game, and it's becoming a bit of a fixture here at Havelock Park this Friday night encounter, and it's great to come to after work. Of course, today is not a working day for a lot of people. It is for us, unfortunately, but it's a great place to come. It's a great atmosphere to just bring your family and have a great time at Havelock Park, and it's great that if they can make this a good Friday night fixture here at Havies for Dialog Club Rugby as well as Havelock Park, of course. And we'll bring it to you live on ThePapare.com. Of course, we can't bring you the after-match atmosphere. That's one thing you're going to have to figure out for yourself. But talking about Navy, I think they're a team that can win today's encounter. And they are a team that has the potential to really upset one of the top four. So it's number 4 plays number 6 today, Sudarshan, and that's going to be the real stumbling block for Havies. They need to make sure they keep the pressure on Police and Sia up in front of them on the table. So that makes it an absolutely must-win game for them, which means the pressure is higher.
Oh, absolutely. And also, you spoke about this being a Friday night affair here at the Havelock Park, and I'm sure most of the players and also the spectators will really appreciate the fact that they don't have to sit in the hot sun to watch this game. The weather, minimum looking at 26. It's currently about 28 maybe, but quite humid out there. There is a slight wind of 12 kilometers per hour, partly cloudy, yes, and hopefully the rain gods will stay away from the game, because Havelock Park tends to become a little muddy as soon as rain arrives. And Shanaka, talking about this evening fixture here, Havelock Sports Club have that slight advantage being able to train under lights and putting the other teams, for the other teams it's not always easy to try and get your body clock adjusted to trying to play at this time. How do you think that will play for Navy?
I'm not sure I entirely agree with that theory, Sudarshana, because if a team is training at maybe 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or maybe even starting their training at 5, they're obviously training in much harsher conditions. So when you come in here and you've got much more favorable conditions, then I think the fact that your body clock doesn't adjust doesn't make a difference, because you're in much more favorable conditions anyway. The fact that Havelocks are used to the lights, that they're used to the height at which the ball comes down. Sometimes when the ball goes into the lights, there's a little bit of a blind spot that the Havelocks will know a bit better. So obviously for a home ground advantage, you know that there's a bit of a wind, and we're looking at the ground on our screens here. On the right bottom corner, as we're panning out across the ground, the right bottom corner, there's a bit of a breeze that comes in. Sometimes the ball tends to get blown inwards when you kick it to that corner. So those things obviously Havelocks will be much better equipped to deal with here. But I think the conditions will actually favor the nighttime conditions, the cooler conditions will actually favor the team that trains in an early morning or a early evening routine. I think that Navy will really love to see what they can expect here today under the lights. And of course, I think we have to draw attention to the fact that there was 77 points scored in this Friday night fixture last week, Sudarshana, which means that teams are able to run the ball more. It's more entertaining for the crowds. The players are able to play till 80 minutes without getting fagged out. So there's a lot to say for this nighttime rugby.
So very interesting game on our hands. We'll go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have a lot more about this cracking encounter Havelock Sports Club hosting Navy Sports Club.
Unanimous decision.
වෙඩින් එකට තාම හොටෙල් එකවත් බුක් කරලා නැහැනේ.
දෙකින් දෙන්නම් සිදු.
අලු සීට් එකක් දැම්ම නම් නරකයි.
දෙකින් දෙන්නම්. දෙකෙන් දෙන්න.
දෙකෙන් දෙන්න.
දෙකෙන් දෙන්න.
දෙකෙන් දෙන්න නම් දෙකෙන් ගන්න ඕනේ. Whatever the need, Ceylon personal loan will be ready for you in just 2 days.
සිලාන් පර්සනල් ලෝන් කිව්වා වගේම වැඩ.
Ceylon Bank, the bank with a heart.
Tradition that dates back over a century. Chaos that captures your heart and soul. An extravaganza you cannot miss. A new decade of familiar madness. March Madness 2020. Exclusive coverage on ThePapare.com.
உங்கள் கிராமத்தில், உங்கள் நகரில், உங்கள் பிரதேசத்தில் உள்ள வீரர்கள் திறமையானவர்களா? அவளின் திறமைகளை நீங்கள் அறிந்து கொள்ள வேண்டுமா? தமிழ் பேசும் உங்களின் திறமைகளை உலகறியச் செய்யும் உங்களுக்கான யூடியூப் சேனல் www.youtube.com/ThePapare.
Tradition that dates back over a century. Chaos that captures your heart and soul. An extravaganza you cannot miss. A new decade of familiar madness. March Madness 2020. Thurston versus Isipatana, the 57th Battle of the Brothers encounter on the 28th and 29th of February from 9 a.m. onwards. Live on Dialog Television, the Dialog View app, and ThePapare.com.
රුපියල් 5කින් මොනවද කරන්න පුළුවන්?
5කින් අපි කමිටුවක් පත් කරනවා. ඒ කමිටුවේ ප්‍රතිඵල ඔබතුමාලාට ළඟදිම ලැබෙන්න සලස්වනවා. තා මොනවාරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද?
රුපියල් 5කින් මොනවද කරන්න පුළුවන්?
Welcome back to the Havelock Park as we get ready for this all-important game. Let's take a look at the two teams who will be coming out for today. Havi is of course the home team. Zayan Zabar, Fajruddin, Abdullah, Ghanidullah Khan, Madhushan, Malisha Madhumayan has been very impressive. Senal Silva and Shaukat Lahir making up that last 3-4 Havelocks. For backs, Kavidu Kashan, Mithun Hapugadashan, Bandara, Lochana Giragama gets a start. Dinusha Aryapala, Randy Silva and Santosh Kalgama.
Good side out there. Zayan Sabah coming back to the forwards, and also Malisha Madhuvan starting. Coach Martis usually prefers him coming off the bench, but in the absence of Lasindu Vishan, Karunatilaka, they've still got an embarrassing riches of third row forwards to put forward. So that's a really good third row for them. A different idea in the line out, perhaps to maybe use Madhumavan at the front of the line out to combat the likes of Adisha Veeratunga. Navy Sports Club, Charita Ekanayaka, Amit Gunasinghe, Deshan Vimukti, Gihan Pereira, Ravin De Silva moves to the second row from the third row. Adisha Veeratunga, he will be an important man. Dilshan Olympus, Radhisha Seniratna at number 8, going to go searching for a lot of turnover balls. Seru Kavulati, Isuru Kongahawata at number 10, Harsha Madhuranga, Mushin Falil the captain, Sachin Kabesekara, Chatura Seniratna moves from the midfield to the wing, and he's been making an impact there as well. Gayan Vikramaratne is in the last line of defence for Navy Sports Club. So two interesting teams, and these are last week's results. We'll tell you this week's results, not right now, but in a few minutes. Police Sports Club 29-12 against Air Force. Havelocks 40-37. That was that 77-point game I was talking about. Again, under lights, you see the discrepancy of the scoring. Navy versus Kandy. Kandy won that one comfortably in the first half and maybe took a bit of a rest, but Navy will be satisfied with their performance against the champions. And Army Sports Club 31-22 against CRNFC in a controversial game that saw a red card and a couple of yellow cards as well, but in the end CRNFC doing just enough to win that game. A 15-point gap at the top, Sudarshana, so that's going to be difficult for anyone to overhaul really. The battle is for second, third and fourth places. 49 points to 48 points between CRNFC and Police, and of course those teams have a game in hand, and the Havelocks will be coming up, maybe coming up the rankings, maybe closing in on Police at the end of this game if they manage to get a bonus point.
The top try scorer of the Dialog Rugby League, Janidul Dilshan, having scored 13 tries, and Tarinder Ratwate is on a class of his own, 98 points to the man, and he plays in a team that doesn't take a lot of spot kicks, Shanaka. So this is what happened when these two teams last met. That was in the first round. Havi is travelling up to Valisar, and it was a shock defeat to the Park Club, who expected to do much better than they did on that day.
Certainly did. I think they have two defeats that they wouldn't have expected at the start of the season, one against Police and one against Navy. And I think that really shook them. They've played better against a big opposition, but I think they can be a little guilty sometimes of not taking the Forces teams as seriously as they should. And this was one of those occasions. But I think Havelocks have gotten better and better as the season wore on. And good try there in the end from Sandesh Jayavikrama. And that was 21-3 at halftime. So they probably expected to win this game comfortably, but that's not what happened in the end. Navy coming back strongly. Lovely pass from Prince Chamara, who has moments of brilliance and moments of madness, really. Another good step through Aryapala, finishing off beautifully. And in the end, Havelocks winning that one, 35-3. That we were talking about a different game, Sudarshana. But waiting for live action here on ThePapare.com, the Havelocks have just wandered out of their changing room and will be introduced to the dignitaries. The hometown crowd will be expecting a big win today, just like they had in the first round. But Matt Lee, I'm sure, will have done a lot of work since then. And let's see what Navy has to offer, because that was a much improved performance last week against Kandy.
Well, absolutely. In the first half, Navy did everything right. They played to their patterns well, but it was the second half that Navy really lost their way, Shanika, to be honest, because in my opinion, what Navy tried to do is they tried to intimidate Kandy Sports Club in the second half, and Kandy is a team who really absorb all that intimidation and play to their potential. Maybe if they tried doing that with a team like CRNFC, who are quite young and they have a couple of players who you can try and intimidate, you can get the better of them. So maybe if they can focus on their patterns and keep playing the way they did in the first half against Kandy Sports Club, I think they will fancy their chances here against the Havies.
Yes, Navy are an abrasive team. They like to use that aggression. Sumedha Malavan was involved in the coaching staff. He was one that we remember being very aggressive on the field as well, and he's transferred that to his players, which is a good thing. But at the same time, you can't get carried away with it. It's not a tactic to win a match. It's something that you can do to use to put the opposition off. But at the end of the day, you need to have your fundamentals sound as well to win the game. So you can't rely on intimidation alone. And this Havelock side is not a team that will get intimidated very easily. They're a young team, but they're a tough team. Sanat Martis's teams are not teams that will back down from a challenge. So the physical battle is going to be a really interesting one today as well. Of course, with Seru Kaulati in the team, you've got that foreign presence, that X factor that the Fijian brings to this Navy side. So let's wait and see how Matt Lee plans to use him. Because if you look at the defense of Sandesh Jayavikram and maybe that 10-12 channel, maybe inside the 10 channel, that's something that they might be looking at with a little bit of interest as an aspect of the game that they can try and exploit from Havies.
Some young ones for Navy Sports Club as well, Deshan Vimukti, and also Charit Ekanayaka, Nimesh Ekanayaka, former Trinitian, played as a tight head at Trinity, but moving on to the loose head position here, did very well against Kandy Sports Club as well. And if he can put out the same performance here, because he did well against the likes of Ganuka Disanayak and also Ashan Dali, if he can do the same here, I think he will be able to really affect the game.
Should be an interesting battle in the front five. I think Navy have a little bit of an edge in terms of just physicality and size, but the way this Havelock's front row has been going, I think they've done themselves really proud, because they're a very young side. Abdullah Faiz just out of school rugby, Sayan Sabah just out of school rugby as well. They've lost the likes of Dushmanta Priyadarshana, so much experience, the cornerstone of that Havelock scrum for a lot of Charana Charmikar, who's not available today, so lots going on in that Havelock pack, but they have still come through very well. And Navy will be struggling today to make sure that they make an impact in that front five, and if they do, the game is going to be very interesting. Hasanta Veranga is the man in charge of the whistle today, and his assistants will be Isuru Pereira and Kamil Haji. So what we've come to expect as the customary huddle by the Havelock's team. The bench will take their places. only to come on and make an impact, and that's what they did last week as well. The Havies bench coming on and really helping their starters out. Navy led by Musin Falil, who's been a bit of a journeyman, but he's been at Navy for a while now. Started off his club rugby at CRNFC, moved around, moved to police, and now is at Navy as well, part of that 2009 unbeaten Royal side. And he will be expecting a big win from his team. His old mate Radhisha Seniratne at number 8 will not make life easy for Shaukat Lahir today, his opposite number, because they are both very similar players. Guys who are abrasive, aggressive, will not get shifted off the ball. Should be an interesting battle, that one, between the two number 8s.
Absolutely. Radhisha will really want to unsettle Havelock Sports Club come the rock time. But like you mentioned, Shaukat Lahir also has very good technique when it comes to turnovers as well. So he will want to make sure that he puts his hand up as well. Navy Sports Club opting to go with their white stripe instead of the traditional blue here at Havelock Park.
And we're underway here at Havelock Park. Dialog Rugby League action from the Friday night fixture on ThePapare.com. Lots more exciting action lined up for you this weekend, culminating of course with CRNFC travelling up to Kandy. But first business to be sorted out here between Navy and Havelock. Kongahawatta is the recipient of a little bit of an untidy ball. Uses his left boot to great effect. The ball bounces well, but two players running into each other for Navy. Coming off his wing was Gayan Vikamaratne. Bust up the middle that time by Amit Gunasinghe. Kaulati looking for a snipe from him, but Kongahawatta puts a little grubber in, keeps it on the floor intelligently. And Santosh Algama gratefully dives over as the ball just goes over the touchline. I think Kongahawatta wanted it to stop just before the try line, but just not enough on it, but he knew he had the penalty coming.
Kongahawatta has been very impressive for Navy this season. I think he's been the player of best player for Navy this season, and it's always nice to see a left-footed kicker on the rugby field. Shana gets like a left-handed batsman with a drive whenever they try to kick. Kongahawatta had a superb game last weekend against superb first half, I should say, against Kandy Sports Club, scoring 16 points himself, but come second half he faded away a little, being replaced at the halfway mark on the second half. Here he has a chance to put 3 points on the board, and Navy would be quite happy because barely 2 minutes on the clock as Kongahawatta lines up his kick.
He's grown head and shoulders since he left Isipatana, and I think coach Matt Lee also has to be congratulated as he gives the early lead to his team, Navy Sports Club, 3 points to 0. You can see he's very languid. Sudarshana is a very little guy. He's not got a lot of size on him, but he's got a good heart and a good head as well. Lots of time on the ball. And that's what separates the good from the bad. I should say probably the good and the better. Santosh Algama now, another young player, entrusted with a lot of responsibility. Seru Kaulati is the man that they look to exit. Taken easily that time by Malusha Madhumevan, who has dropped down to the number 8 spot that Lasindu Ishan may have been operating in. Ball coming back off Algama. And Kaulati will fire out another long pass, giving a lot of width. Now Sachin Tabevikrama looking for Chatura Senivaratne, who checks the Sri Lanka's 7th player. Does well to come back in field, and this is a good bust. Madhisha Veeratunga, I think it was. Kongahawatta shifting. Kaulati now changing roles to the first receiver. Just trying to keep things interesting for the Havies defense. Keep them guessing. That was Deshan Mumukti. And here another good pass from Kongahawatta. Finds Khan Vikramaratne in the line. Here's Ravin De Silva. That pass is not a good one. It's unfortunate that time. Gihan Pereira running straight into that ball, but the pass not finding the accuracy. Lucky to come away with the penalty there.
Good passage of play by Navy Sports Club. Despite it being a little erratic, they managed to hold on to position. Interesting tactic by Navy Sports Club as they are looking to use the full width of the field, Shanaka. They are going from side to side. Definitely Coach Matt Lee's influence really coming into play. Havis on the other hand are a team who would like to flood the breakdowns and make sure that they have control. They like to slow the pace down, but Navy on the other hand looking to play the game at pace.
Certainly are. They want to keep it away from that Havelock's trio. Calls for a high tackle, but it's fine, says the referee. Kaulati, nice flat pass across the face of the defense. Ravin De Silva stepping through. Good run from Ravin, who's really come into his own as a Navy player. Spent a lot of time at the club. Kaulati again, looking for that nice long ball. Here's Chatura Senivaratne coming off his wing. Slow ball for Kaulati that time. Strung straight out the back, but Kongahawatta's pass doesn't find a good mark. Adisha Viratunga tried to throw the wraparound pass, just didn't go to hand. It was a good idea, just the execution let him down. And here's Kaulati again, but this time they're wise to Ravin De Silva's run. Good tackle in the end by Madhumevan. In fact, it was Lahir. Here's a burst up the middle from Chatura Senivaratne again. Sachin Kabe Vikrama now. Navy do well to drive into that breakdown. Madhuranga that time trying to make something happen, but the referee has given another penalty. So 3 penalties against the Havelocks, and they'll have to be a little careful.
Captain.
It's within the range of Chatura Senivaratne and Isuru Kongahawatta, I would think. Having a little bit of a chat, Musin Falil saying that they will go for the posts. Yes, that's exactly what they're doing. And Kongahawatta, being the good honest lad that he is, doesn't try to find any meters, and for his bad luck, he placed the ball down exactly where it was. And referee Weiranga said, hang on, I'm pushing you back another meter or two.
Well, you can't be too honest, isn't it? But definitely has almost a 60-meter boot on him, Kongahawatta. Converted one which was almost 50 meters last weekend. And what Navy has in their arsenal is another kicker in Chatura Senivaratne, who also has a good range with his kicks.
That was really an instance that shows that honesty doesn't pay, Sudarshana. We remember that famous incident of Bowden Barrett trying to buy a few meters. The referee completely missing it. I think he's made life difficult for kickers across the world. Referees are now skeptical of everyone. Poor old Konga has to kick it a couple of extra meters, but doesn't matter at all because he gets it with some distance to spare. So it's 6 points to 0, and Navy are making the early running in this game.
Good show by Navy. Every time they go to the opposition half, they are coming away with points, and this is exactly what they need to do. And if they can put early pressure on Havelock Sports Club, that when they will be able to try and play the game to their own pace, which looks like it's not setting in with Havelocks just yet.
Nicely taken that time. That was Gihan Pereira, former Josephian, who took that one. Runs it up the middle as well, and Musin Falil now finds himself with no option but to kick, and Santosh Algama has that one read. Opts to thump it back down the field, maybe buy his team some territory, but Kongahawatta has read that kick as well and will opt for the safety. No, he doesn't. Puts it deep into the Havelock's territory, and now the Havies will run it. Here's Mithun Hapagoda. But the referee says that there were players offside, so again bad discipline. After a very good passage of play where they were deservedly 6 points up, that was a silly mistake that allowed the Havelocks to maybe get a chance of points now.
Now this could really turn the game on its head, because if Havies can try and score from here, and we've seen them do that time and time again with their well-drilled forwards. Good clearance kick by Santosh Algama, which brings Havelock Sports Club to Navy's 22 for the first time in this game. Like you said, bad discipline really letting Havies into Navy's half.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate, because all you need to do is retire. When the kick is made from behind you, you just can't move forward. You just have to move backwards. It doesn't matter if you move half a step at a time. You just have to be seen not going forwards. And that was just really inexcusable from Havelocks. From Navy rather. Ganidhu Lakshan takes it well, and as we expected, the drive coming from the Havelocks pack, but Navy have done well to try and disrupt this, get their hands around the ball, and it looks like they might have won themselves a scrum. Excellent work from Navy that time in the ball defense.
Just terrific stuff from Navy forwards. That would really give them a lot of confidence, and I'm sure a lot would be said inside this scrum to the Havelock forwards about how they're not going to just walk away with every ball that they set up.
Sadisha Veeratunga in the middle of that got himself involved at the time of the jump and managed to come straight through the middle. That was good work by the Havies forwards there. I think it was Gihan Pereira again with Veeratunga that really obscured the ball, and there's no obligation to let the ball go if you go to ground in a ball. So that was really good work from the Navy forward. So that'll put a little bit of fear into the Havelock's minds, because if it happens once and it's the first driving ball, Sudarshana, you start to think about, can we use this at every opportunity? Kongahavatta inside the 22. Lovely thump. It didn't look like he struck it at all hard, but he makes 50 meters. Good chase, and that was a lovely ball thrown infield by Santosh Algama, finding Randy Silva. This is the first bit of ball that Havelocks have had whole game. Mithun Hapagoda, nice flat ball to Ganidhu Lakshan. The short pass. Hapagoda goes after it. Here's a nice long ball again, and Zayan Sabah is the man out in the tram lines between the 15-meter mark and the 5-meter mark. Hapagoda spots a gap, and that's a beautiful ball to Umesh Madhushan, who's made a habit of this now. Still going. Good bust up the middle from Havelocks. But in the end, it's not good enough. Was Lochana Girahagama, or in fact it was Dinushan Aryapala, who just didn't get there in time. And that was a little unfortunate for Havelocks, because they made some good ground and conceded again.
If you can take a look at that replay, Shanaga, when the ball carrier went to the ground, it was Aryapala, just Aryapala. Now take a look at this. This was Madhushan taking the ball forward. Good run, hitting the gap at pace. Now here, when he goes to the ground, just two players arriving there and none of them doing anything. And then even Asmir Fajri did what most front row forwards would do, just kept his hand there, didn't get involved in that ruck. That's the main reason that they lost out, and gifted a penalty to Navy Sports Club.
I think it was Madhu Mevan also who got there as the first man and just lost his footing. And once you lose your footing in a ruck, it doesn't matter that you were the first man there, because you're out of the game. So any young players watching, it helps to really make sure you secure that ball rather than drive in aggressively and maybe lose your footing. Try and take the man out, play the man rather than the ball, which is where things tend to go awry. That's a lovely kick, but doesn't find touch from Chatura Seneviratna.
Please, Pink, get back!
And it's put back high up and under, but the ball goes backwards. No, it doesn't. And Gihan Pereira that time, the ball has been following him around early doors. And he knocks on and apologizes to his team.
Yeah, Pereira has been involved in this game during this brief 30 minutes. But he's lost a lot of weight since his time at St. Joseph Shanaga, looking in real good shape. Pereira.
Yes, he was a tough player, and that's the kind of toughness that you need in the club environment. Lahir spins out of one tackle, but Adisha Veeratunga holds on to his bootstraps for dear life. Hapugoda to Girahagama, lovely burst from Lochana Girahagama. Nice long pass out to Randy Silva, who should probably have been a little flatter in his support line. Silva does well to lay the ball back, but unfortunately it goes out of a Havelock's boot. So Lochana Girahagama has been growing in confidence, Sudarshan, ever since he started starting, I should say, for Havelock's. Lovely footwork there, just straightened the line, saw the gap, and then cut away from the defense. That's really good wingers footwork from the man who played a lot of rugby on the wing for Trinity and now has bulked up and moved in field. It's always a sign of a good player when they can play in different positions.
Oh, absolutely. I think his move to Havelock Sports Club has done him a world of good. At Candy Sports Club, he dwelled in the bench and didn't get much playing time. But since coming to the Park Club, he's become a different player.
Abdullah Faiz taking that up. And here's Aryapala cutting back in field. A collision was a deadly one with Mushin Falil, but Falil won't be too bothered by that. Fajuddin, lovely offload. Cutting back in field is Keshan Kavinda, and it was a good tackle in the end from Gayan Vikramaratne, the fullback. So two Isipathanians from that same team, the 2016 team at 10 and 15 for Navy, showing why that was a really good side for Isipathana as well. Coming back for the penalty.
Shalgamana, the young player who's gotten a starting nod from Coach Martis in this Havelock Sports Club outfit, and I think he's also one of those players who has really grown into a good player in the club arena. Shanaga, despite being very, very young, it's not an easy place to play at that pivotal number 10 role, but he's done it with conviction this season.
Well, he's actually moved to 15, Sudarshan, and that's something that I found even more impressive because he played all of his school rugby at number 10, and now with Mithun Hapugoda at first receiver, he's got to play a lot of rugby at 15. That's a better setup from Havelocks this time. But again, Navy's physicality, making sure that Havelocks don't get the drive on, and even if they concede a penalty, here they will consider it another moral victory for themselves. Big bust from Ekanayaka that time, or Gihan Pereira again. Made that hit on Malisha Madhumevan, driving him back. Maybe not shy of a bit of physicality here. Hapugoda, long ball out to Algama. Algama tries to find Randy Silva, cuts back in field well, but unfortunately for him, the pass doesn't go to hand, and the referee will come all the way back to the other side as Seru Kaulati makes sure that his team are lined up and ready to defend this.
Number 30.
Well, seems like it was number 13 from Navy Sports Club who was guilty of entering the mall in an incorrect way.
So easy decision this time to go in to touch for the 5-meter line out. And although the penalty came, this will cause a little bit of a confidence drop in the Havelock's side. They will desperately need to make sure they get this one right. And that's a much better setup. So nice and neat. Malisha Madhumevan at number 2. Easy walk in. But again, and yes, the try is there. They can see it. Asmir Fajuddin is a man lying on the ball. In fact, it's Umesh Madhushan, I think, lying on the ball. Nope, in fact, it is Fajuddin. Got a little help from his royal buddy. Or was it Senal Dilaka? I'll have a look at the replay and tell you exactly who scored that try. For Havelocks, of course, it won't matter who scored because it's a forwards try. And that's one thing I think all hookers realize, that when they go over and get the points attributed to their name, that they really do share that with every single one of the other lads. Yes, so Fajuddin was outside. Umesh Madhushan was behind, and I think it was... yeah, it looked like it was Umesh Madhushan, in fact, who touched down. So he's not interested in too many accolades. He doesn't throw the ball up, doesn't punch the air. And that was a forwards try, and it's 6 points to 5 now, as Algama's conversion just drifts off to the right.
I think you were 100% correct when you said the Havelocks will be really happy at the fact that it was a forwards try, because remember the earlier 2 times Navy defended them very well, and that is one of their go-to weapons, and if they are going to get their confidence low in that, that's going to be a real problem for Havelock Sports Club. And now they will be very much relieved that they've gotten 5 points on the board, and that too through their forwards and a driving maul.
Yes, it's a terrible thing to defend, Sudarshan, as you well know. Almost impossible if a team sets up nicely. But it's one of those aspects of the game that maybe needs a little bit of a rethink. I think there's been spoken about in World Rugby as well. A lot of international charge down, and again, it's Gihan Pereira in the thick of things. Havelocks managing to recover that time. So again, the failure to exit swiftly after they've scored a try. Habugoda from the base, and will find the safety of touch that time. In fact, the safety of the grandstand. So just about 30 meters out, Navy will set up camp again and try to drag their ship over the line.
Spoke about defending a maul, Shanak. There really is only 3 options that you can take, isn't it? You can opt to not bite, where they can't transfer the ball back, which is one option, or you can try to sack them as soon as they come down, and that is of course a very difficult art to learn. And the only other option is to try and set it up and try to push them across.
Beautifully taken at the front that time by Adisha Veeratunga, and sets the ball up nicely in midfield for his short side. Chatura Senivaratna, lovely burst and a superb offload. Ravin De Silva running onto it like a galloping horse. Seru Kaulati now sees a little bit of space. Kongahawatha shows and goes, ducks under the tackle of Madhushan. Good clean out that time from the Navy, and they've got space on the short side. Ball available for them. Tackle that time by Sabah, holds on to the player. Ravin De Silva's on the floor. That's something that they will need fixed quickly. Lovely ball out, but Mushik Falil gets caught by Mithun Habugoda, who read it all the way. Kongahawatha has to go in and protect that ball from the terrier-like Shaukat Lahir. That's a lovely ball out, but again Gihan Pereira lets the ball go. Cutting back infield is Seru Kaulati. Has no option but to duck his head into the tackle that time, the scrum half. Good run that time, breaking 3 tackles was Musin Falil. Didn't find a lot of ground, but managed to find some space. Referee says the ball went backwards, but it was an interference with the halfback. And Isuru Kongahawatha shows his frustration. And it would be interesting to see if the assistant referee will intervene on that, but Kongahawatha and Musin Falil have a case to argue here.
Well, interesting passage of play from Navy. This is what happened. Here's the halfback. Oh, no way. That should have been a penalty any day of the week, but seems like referee Ranga missed that one out. Navy Sports Club will be really frustrated at the fact that they didn't get that penalty, because they were having that momentum. But credit to Havelock Sports Club, they've been flying off the rank for that defensive effort.
Well, I'm wondering whether it was a penalty as well, because the ball had been lifted, Sudarshana. When we saw it the second time, the ball was off the ground. So can you then grab the hand? We've got one of the referees in the commentary box, so we might ask him at half time to explain that rule to us. Whether you can interfere with the 9 after he's picked the ball up. There was no ruck, so Umesh Madhushan was probably within his rights to do that. So we'll discuss that and come back to you. But Ravin De Silva looks like he's had some running repairs and will be coming into this second row. Could be a relief.
He's also one of those hardy players, isn't he? It didn't look like he was able to get up, but gets his strapping and comes back charging into that scrum.
Well, it's the adrenaline, isn't it, Sudarshana? We've all done something silly at some point. I hope this is not one of those things that Ravin De Silva is doing that he's better off going off for. But I think the medics will give him that advice. But that time it's Nimesh Ekanayaka who bows in. And the penalty is given. Referee Veranga showing a very clear going in on the angle from the Navy loose head. We'll never find a prop forward who will agree with any call made against him. It's not going to change tonight. Chandra Seneviratne trying to palm that ball in, but the ball had crossed the plane of touch. So it will remain out.
Then again, interesting place for Havelock Sports Club to be. Here's another look at what happened. Seems like that was fair call by the referee, but
I think the only issue was whether Umesh Madhushan was onside or not. And we'll maybe have another look at that one when time permits. Knocked on by Navy, although they disrupted the line out and Mithun Hapugada puts it through. And that time Vikramaratne will mark. But they'll come back for the knock-on.
so all not well when it comes to Havelock's line out, isn't it, Shanaga? The first 2 times they set up, they couldn't get the drive on properly, but this time around, an overthrow, it's not something that you're used to seeing from the Havelock's line out, because that's something they're very well drilled at. Navy have done a very good job at unsettling them, and they will be looking to convert the same pattern of play when it comes to scrum time.
Watch for Shaukat Lahir on the blind side here. That's exactly what he does. Adisha Veeratunga wraps him up though, but not for long, as he fights his way out of the first tackle. There's another penalty coming for not rolling away here. Very clear penalty there. That was Radhisha Seneviratne who got himself in the way. It's another penalty coming as Shaukat Lahir and Umesh Madhushan, who have been terrific for the Park Club this season. Madhushan trying to drag Lahir over the line. Vibhuti Rahula. In fact, it's Kavin the Keshan at scrum half today. Moved off the wing and into the scrum half role, which he's adapting to very easily. Radhisha Seneviratne's penalty is now what Havies will have to defend. Navy will have to defend, I should say. So, do you fancy a guess at what might be coming? Well, there's no ruck there. There's no players bound on each other. So, is there a hindmost foot? Is the question to be asked. So, this is where lawyers get a little bit too involved in rugby. It's very complicated rules, of course. But, we'll probably have to put that one to an expert panel to get a decision on. Driving forward as per usual, and that's well over the line and easily scored that time. Sabah just telling Ravin De Silva what they thought of those first 2 defensive efforts, and it's Shaukat Lahir that time who goes over. So they're taking tries, they're taking turns scoring these tries, I should say. And Lahir scores probably for about the 4th week in a row.
It's become a habit for these Havelock forwards. Take a look at this very well set up maul. Lahir at the back securing that ball, and as soon as they felt they were going in front, Lahir wasn't going to get Fajruddin's help scoring that try. He knew that he had it under control. Second try for Havelock Sports Club, managing to take a little bit of life out of Navy Sports Club, because so far this game, Shanaka, Havelock Sports Club have been very, very good when it comes to the set pieces and scoring the try, despite missing out on the first couple of occasions, and Santosh Algama's kick goes astray, but it's Navy who called the shots so far. They've run well, they've played very good fast open rugby, despite not having good results through it.
Yes, they've played the better rugby, I have to say. Havelocks have got their 2 tries off the driving maul. They're not the prettiest things to watch, but they're highly effective. As we bring you this Dialog Club Rugby action live from Havelock Park, the Friday night fixture. You can watch this fixture and of course much more on Sri Lanka's #1 sports hub, taking these pictures live around the globe on ThePapare.com. Ganidul Akshan, Abdullah Faiz did really well to bring his second row buddy down. Good responsibility, and now he has the responsibility of carrying the ball up. Ravin De Silva gets him on the second grab. Now they're looking to shift it. Here's Arya Pala. Hapugoda at fly half, just seeing the gap opening, accelerating through it as it closes down, but gets beyond the gain line. Holding on to the ball is the call, so despite getting fast through, there's a lot of back chat from both sets of players, both sets of captains in fact. Muhsin Falil questioning decisions, now Mithun Hapugoda questioning that decision as well. And Sharo Fernando will be sitting watching this game and wondering where the yellow card is.
Yes, Fernando was quite unlucky that game, getting 2 yellow cards, but good for him that his cards have been appealed for by the club management at CRNFC. Kongahawatta's third attempt at goal.
It's good to see Navy not panicking here and just trying to get within 1 point. They realize there's a lot of rugby left in this game. We're just about half an hour gone at the moment, and it's been an interesting arm wrestle so far. Havelocks with those driving mauls, of course, having the upper hand. But surprisingly, Kongahawatta hooking that one. You didn't hear a good sound of the ball when he struck it, so that's a bit of a telltale sign.
Yes, definitely didn't get the connection right that time, Kongahawatta. Navy Sports Club currently in the 6th position in this league, would have definitely wanted to be a little higher up. This game is very important to them, because if they can win this one, they can still hope to enter that super round, Shanak, and that's going to be important.
Very important for them. They've probably got the highest profile coach coaching them, and I think they're playing some really good rugby without big names. A lot of these players are not household names in the school scene, but still good enough. Kongahawatta. That looks like it's been well turned over. The penalty coming again for Havelock Sports Clubs. The penalty count has been pretty high against both teams. Giragama. Algama with a lovely ball out to Randy Silva. A lot of space now for Silva. Looks like it might have been knocked forward. No, it hasn't been. So the referee will play on. Think advantage should probably have been over at that point. Gihan Pereira again taking his team towards the safety of the 22-meter line. And Kongahawatta that time with a much better kick finds touch on the 50-meter line.
What a great asset to have, isn't it? Shanaka, left-footed kicker. Randy didn't have much support. Could have done better with a little bit more support coming his way. But Konga doing very well to exit and bring a play back again to the Havelock's half.
Randy Silva, of course, playing against his old buddies, Gan Vikramaratne and Isuru Konga on opposite sides of the whitewash this time, but played with a lot of distinction for their school. Isipatana just across the road. Here's Lahir, does what he does best, puts his head down and busts forward. Keshan Kavind with a lovely ball out to Midun Hapugoda. Here's some space now. Ashan Bandara, but he fortunately falls foul of the touchline. Bandara there, it's a good tackle made on him by Harsha Madhuranga. Does just enough to push him out into touch. Asmir Fajrin having a lot to say to the referee. He's never short of a word, the young hooker.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Steady ball.
Konga Hawattana thinks about running, puts it in field to Musin Falil, who has a lovely offload to Sachinka. And here's a little bit of space now opening up for Gayan Vikramaratne. It's a high tackle on him by Keshan Kavinda. The referee will play advantage. There's a knock on, so he'll come back for that high tackle. Lovely bit of work from Musin Falil. A nice bit of sleight of hand from Konga Hawatta as well. And Falil did really well for that short pass to find his support runner. Here's the pass, really well.
Just brilliant stuff. Great combination between Konga Hawatta and Falil as well. Navy now opting to go to touch, and if they can score here, that will really demoralize the Park Club. That was the high tackle that Havelock Sports Club had been penalised for. Now this line out is going to be of great importance to Navy Sports Club. If they can maybe set up and shove the Havelocks forwards, that will really be a great try.
Made a bit of a hash of it, did Adisha Veeratunga, but the penalty was already coming. So been a lot of penalties in this game, Sudarshana. Discipline a real issue for both teams. They've been conceding a lot of field position as a result. Referee having a stern word to Mithun Hapugoda. Did we catch any of that, Sudarshana? I think the call is that there was a bit of interference in the air with Adesha Veeratunga. Yeah, they didn't let him come down, I think is the call, so it's an early drive. Going for the scrum. So maybe looking to use Seru Kaulati off the base here. He's a short, powerful man, is Kaulati. Mithun Hapugoda is a brave defender, but not the biggest.
Also keep an eye out on the pocket dynamo Radisha Senaviratne.
Musid Falil saying that, trying to ask what happened there. Let's watch it here. The ball is won, it's at the back, and and the penalty comes after the ball is almost out of the scrum. It's a ridiculous call, Sudarshan. I'm sorry to say this. We get pulled up a lot for taking the commentator, taking the referees on here, but the ball was in play. That was nonsense.
Long kick doesn't find touch, so Navy wins back position. Chatara Senaviratne charging through the middle, trying to counter, still on his feet. It's brilliant stuff from the young lad. Quick ball out to Konga Havatta gives it out to his backs. Here's Ravi De Silva, slick offload from De Silva. Konga Havatta is there to try and secure the ball. A pass to no man, another penalty. The penalty counter now running at about 13 penalties, but we haven't heard the referee talking to either one of the captains, because this is going to be like a traffic policeman in the middle of Maradona.
Well, it's one penalty after the other. It's almost like a boxing match of penalties. Well offside, Zan Sabah on that occasion. So, Havies are back where they started. Have to win another line out, of course. Munasinghe to throw in, and that time Adisha Veeratunga gets walked forward a few steps before coming down, and again now he'll have to go to his pocket. He'll have absolutely no option. Let's see who it is. It's Malisha Madhumevan who is called for entering the scrum, entering the maul from the side rather. Taken quickly by Seru Kaulati, and it looks like he might have just gotten over, but no. He places the ball. And now Navy have a chance to try and finish this one on the stroke of half time. What a good time it will be for them if they score here and take a lead. Doubling up at the back of that maul, on the back of that rock rather. Umesh Madhushan does really well, but the try is scored. Let's see who gets up as the last man, and it's Radhisha Senaviratne himself. Who better to go over from that close quarter exchange, but Radhisha Senaviratne, we said it'll be an interesting battle between him and Shaukat Lahir, and he's mirrored what his opposite number did at the other end with a little bit of help from his friends behind him.
Just terrific for Navy Sports Club, managing to score just at the stroke of half time. And remember, Havies are going to be down to 14 men for almost 9 to 8 minutes with the change of side. So Navy Sports Club will really fancy their chances. Here's how it happened. The forwards deciding that they're going to keep it close to each other. It was Radhisha who he picked up, doubled up with Ravin De Silva. Couldn't get through with the first attempt. Oh, did get through in the first attempt eventually.
It's really impressed me is the skills shown by this Navy team, Sudarshan, and that's something that shows that it's not skills that a team that's in 6th place should be having. You'd expect this kind of skills from Havelocks, and they've played really well, and I think they've got some really good polished players, but the fact that these guys are getting the offloads, they're running the nice angles, and also at close quarters they've got the right body angles, they're doubling up well. That's all good stuff from Navy, who go into a deserved lead, I would have to say, at the end of the half. 11 points to 10, just a 1 point in it, and there's plenty more on offer in this next 40 minutes on ThePapare.com as we bring you live Friday night fixture action from the Dialog Rugby League.
Interesting first half from both the teams, and like Shanika mentioned, I think Navy deservedly going in front of Havelock Sports Club by a solitary point. Konga Havatta missing the last 2 conversions though, that would have really put them on a much better pedestal, but I wholeheartedly agree with you, Shanika. The quality that Navy possesses is slightly less than Havelock Sports Club, what they possess when it comes to the play from a player to player, but Navy are currently playing much better looking rugby and much more organised rugby, and their decision making is a lot better than Havelock Sports Club.
Certainly has been. This is the first try, of course, came off a driving maul on the left flank. Umesh Madhushan was the man who scored there. And on the opposite flank, a mirror image, but this time it was Shaukat Lahir who touched down. And this was the final try. Came after 39 minutes of Navy trying to do this. And they've been playing some good rugby, but in the end, the try came the ugly way from the close quarters, and it was Radhisha Seniviratna who burrowed his way over with a little bit of help from Ravin Fernando to go into a 1-point lead at halftime. Plenty to play for. It's an underlights game, which means it's going to be entertaining right to the 80th minute. Don't go anywhere. You're on ThePapare.com.
අලු සීටිකක් දැම්ම නම් නරකයි.
දෙකෙන් දෙන්න.
සර් සර්ගේ පේමන්ට් එක සෙටල් කරන්න තියෙනවා.
දෙකෙන් දෙන්න. දෙකෙන් දෙන්න. දෙකෙන් දෙන්න. දෙකෙන් දෙන්න.
දෙකෙන් දෙන්න නම් දෙකෙන් ගන්න ඕනේ. Whatever the need, a Ceylon personal loan will be ready for you in just 2 days.
Ceylon personal loan කිව්වා වගේම වැඩ.
Ceylon Bank, the bank with the heart.
අලු සීටිකක් දැම්ම නම් නරකයි.
දෙකෙන් දෙන්න.
සර් සර්ගේ පේමන්ට් එක සෙටල් කරන්න තියෙනවා.
දෙකෙන් දෙන්න. දෙකෙන් දෙන්න. දෙකෙන් දෙන්න. දෙකෙන් දෙන්න. දෙකෙන්.
දෙකෙන් දෙන්න නම් දෙකෙන් ගන්න ඕනේ. Whatever the need, a Ceylon personal loan will be ready for you in just 2 days.
Ceylon personal loan කිව්වා වගේම වැඩ.
Ceylon Bank, the bank with the heart.
අලු සීටිකක් දැම්ම නම් නරකයි.
දෙකෙන් දෙන්න.
සර් සර්ගේ පේමන්ට් එක සෙටල් කරන්න තියෙනවා.
දෙකෙන් දෙන්න. දෙකෙන් දෙන්න. දෙකෙන් දෙන්න. දෙකෙන් දෙන්න. දෙකෙන්.
දෙකෙන් දෙන්න නම් දෙකෙන් ගන්න ඕනේ. Whatever the need, a Ceylon personal loan will be ready for you in just 2 days.
Ceylon personal loan කිව්වා වගේම වැඩ.
Ceylon Bank, the bank with the heart.
Tradition that dates back over a century. Chaos that captures your heart and soul. An extravaganza you cannot miss. A new decade of familiar madness. March Madness 2020. Exclusive coverage on ThePapare.com.
உங்கள் கிராமத்தில் உங்கள் நகரில் உங்கள் பிரதேசத்தில் உள்ள வீரர்கள் திறமையானவர்களா? அவளின் திறமைகளை நீங்கள் அறிந்து கொள்ள வேண்டுமா? தமிழ் பேசும் உங்களின் திறமைகளை உலகறியச் செய்யும் உங்களுக்கான யூடியூப் சேனல் www.youtube.com/ThePapare Tamil.
A tradition that dates back over a century. Chaos that captures your heart and soul. An extravaganza you cannot miss. A new decade of familiar madness. March Madness 2020. Thurston versus Isipatana, the 57th Battle of the Brothers encounter on the 28th and 29th of February from 9 a.m. onwards. Live on Dialog Television, the Dialog View app, and ThePapare.com.
රුපියල් 5කින් මොනවද කරන්න පුළුවන්?
5කින් අපි කමිටුවක් පත් කරනවා. ඒ කමිටුවේ ප්‍රතිඵල ඔබතුමාලාට ළඟදිම ලැබෙන්න සලස්වනවා. තා මොනවාරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද?
රුපියල් 5කින් මොනවද කරන්න පුළුවන්?
Welcome back to the night skies of Colombo as the lights shine down on Havelock Park, and the lights have been shining brightly on this game as well, as it's a one-point affair between Navy, the visitors, against the home team Havelocks here, as maybe a slight drizzle comes down on Havelock Park. The humidity breaks a little bit and it becomes a wonderful spectacle here. Nice cool evening for rugby to be played, and we're noticing some red hot rugby, of course, from Navy Sports Club, who've just taken the lead on the stroke of half-time, 11 points to 10. Plenty to be said by both coaches at half-time, Sudarshana Piris, because both these coaches are very, very experienced. They know exactly what's to come, and I wonder what would have been said in those huddles.
I'm sure a lot would have been said in the Navy huddle, because they're playing some very good rugby, and in the Havelock huddle, I'm sure Coach Son of Madris would have just told them to stick to the plan and make sure that they try and hold on to position as much as they can, because that's something Havelock lacked in the first half, as Algama kickstarts the proceeding.
Taken immediately by Musin Falil, the captain, who has stood up, made a couple of good breaks today, and Seru Kaulati will put this one high in the air. We haven't seen the scrum half box kicking too much today, but he's obviously got it in his armory, and he forces a knock-on from the first exchange of play. So we're yet to see Kaulati coming into the game, making a big difference. We saw a bit of a changeover between him and Kongahawatha, shifting between 9 and 10. I'd like to see a little bit more of that in the second half.
Yes, and for Havelocks, Mithun Hapagod and Santosh Shalgam have been doing that, alternating between number 10 and 15. But despite this being a high-scoring game, Shanak, in the first half, it has been entertaining, irrespective of the plethora of penalties that we had. Hopefully, we will have a lot more continuity come second half, and this game is definitely going to be very interesting.
Yes, that's something we can definitely hope for, as Kongahawatha steps it back infield for Musin Falil, but read all the way that time by Shaukat Lahir, who might have created an opportunity on the breakaway for his team. Well recovered that time, and Harsha Madhuranga will try and run his way out of trouble. So well off his feet that time, the number 23 for Havelocks. was Mithun Hapugoda, in fact. That ball didn't find its way out, and it's been returned on the volley. Here's Ravin De Silva now stepping. He's happy his forwards are back there, and we'll probably see Kaulati going to Isuru Gongahawatha. The pass is not a good one. And here's Harsha Madhuranga trying to run his way out of trouble again. In fact, that was Sachin Kabesekara, had very little to do apart from what he just did. And Navy, despite getting a penalty very early on in the piece, are struggling to get out of their half. Shaukat Lahir has obviously been told, mate, we need to see a little bit more aggression from your defense. And he has given his coach exactly what he wanted. He would also be told, Malisha Madhamevan is in the bin, so I need you to play for two flankers, which is also something that is obliging.
There's Havelock Sports Club down to 14 men, with Madhamevan seeing yellow just at the stroke of half time. Now Havi is having a little bit of a conference in the middle of the field, trying to decide what their tactics would be this line out.
Fajuddin to throw into the first line out of the second half. Havelocks have been very good at the line out. And that one goes to Senal Dilaka at the back. They scored their 2 tries off the number 2 throw. Now they're going to 6. Gihan Pereira is all over the ball, but has to let it go. Keshan Kavinda, don't forget he's a winger. Got real pace if you give him some room close to the fringe. Lahir leaves his scrum cap behind and goes straight into the tackle. And over the top goes Pereira, who's had a mixed bag today. He's done some very good things, but also has been guilty of conceding a few penalties.
Interesting call. They're looking to go for touch. Havis, I thought, would have been better off trying to go at the post, Chanaka, given the fact that they are one man down as well. They would suck in a little more time taking that spot kick.
But this shows how much confidence they have in their driving maul, doesn't it, Sudarshana? That's the sensible thing that you would have expected teams to do. Maybe just you only have 7 men in your driving maul. You don't want to expose it too much. You just take the kick. You have a good, decent kicker in the ranks. It's within range, but no, that's exactly what they just go for the jugular, and you can't fault that kind of positivity, that kind of belief.
Yes, managing to get the lead back with only 14 men would give them a real boost, this Havelock's team. The 2 tries they've scored has been through a driving maul. Here they set up yet again.
That's a beautiful setup one more time. Ganidhu Lakshan was the man who won the ball in the middle of the line out. And this is a great drive. This is going to be easy peasy for Shaukat Lahir. Easiest run-in that he's had. Absolutely untouched this time. And is he going to score a hat-trick? Once again, he scored one against Police. Got a couple of tries last week as well. And he's got a brace this time also. So that was an easy setup. And if you just look at how it works, Sudarshana, Ganidhu Lakshan wins the ball at the top. And just the way he turns around and presents the ball, it allows that first front row of driving maulers to be really good in the way they construct this maul. And once it's constructed in that arrowhead formation, there's really very little you can do about it.
And also the change of direction of that maul really took Navy forwards by surprise, and it was Chathos and Viratna and Kongahawat who was the closest men to the maul, and both of them absolutely had no clue how to defend that.
Oh, and a rare miss by Santosh Algama from a kickable area. That's why they've got Ganidhu Lakshan in the team. They probably use him a little less than they should. Look at Malisha Madhamevan at the front and Senal Dilaka at the back as line-out options, but you can see what Ganidhu Lakshan can bring to the party, because number 4 is just the ideal position to set up that driving maul from, and that was just a copybook example of how it should be done. It make a coach very happy.
I'm sure that will make Sanal Maris quite a happy man. Hard man to please though. He'll want to make sure that his Chargers make sure that they win this game with a bonus point and convincingly.
Well, they're just one try away from that bonus point. They needed to keep the pressure on. The pressure on Police and the pressure on CRNFC. So knock on by the man chasing forward, Adisha Veeratunga again. Questioning whether it was him. Radisha Senivaratna saying yes, it was. Navy need a little bit of motivation now that they've conceded early on. In the half, they finished at half strongly, and it's 10 minutes before half time and the 10 minutes after half time they really set the tone. If a team can dominate in those periods, Sudarshan, they generally go on to win the match. Madhuvevan off still, so Havelocks will fancy their chances in this scrum.
Scrum has been a troublesome area for Navy Sports Club. They've considered a couple of more penalties than what they would have liked. Nimesh Ekanaika in the number 3 jersey, playing at loose end, have had trouble. And as we speak, Madhuvevan returns with alongside Lasidu Karnatilaka, who replaces Senal Dilaka, and Lasidu is going to bring a different energy to this team.
Oh, certainly he'll be raring to go, wouldn't he? He comes back after a long layoff for an ankle injury. Spoke to him last week. He said he was planning to play last week, but they rested him one further week just out of caution, I would think. But if he's fit now for the run-up for Havelocks to try and take that second, third position, then that will be a big one for them. And as he comes on, Havelocks winning themselves a penalty. Once again, driving in on the angle. Musin Falil has plenty to say. And the hooker Amit Gunasinghe is absolutely livid. Adisha Veeratunga also going to have a word. Boring in was a call by the referee, and you can see on the far side the bind breaking, and it looked very much like Nimesh Ekanaika was the one who came through and drove in on the angle. So the whole scrum collapsed on Ganidhu Lakshan, who's still down in back play. Manages to get himself up. He's a tough player. Came back from a long absence due to an ACL reconstruction.
And also Ganidhu Lakshan is a very important cog in this Havelocks line-out as well. Most probably will be the mark that Fajruddin is hoping to hit here.
He is indeed, but that time he only manages to palm it back to the freshly returned Malisha Madhuvevan. And again a penalty. There's plenty of penalties on offer today. Amit Gunasinghe is really pumped about that because he's very upset about the scrum penalty that they just conceded. So he'll be happy to win that penalty back. And Musin Falil will be told to tell his players to keep a lid on it. Chatura Senivaratna with very little angle to work with. I would have thought that would have been something that the left-footed kicker would have a go at. But nevertheless, he manages to take play up to the 40-meter mark. And it's important that Navy don't let this game run away, that they don't let things like that scrum penalty upset them. You can see their morale has just had a little bit of a downer since they conceded that early try. And Havelocks, being the professional team they are, will continue to just tighten their grip on this game. overthrown that time. There's no lift on Ravin De Silva from in front. And Vikramaratne now steps through. That's a lovely burst from Vikramaratne. Takes them up to where they came from. Kongavatta, Musin Falil that time stands in the tackle of Hapugoda. Goes to ground. And it's stolen away that time by Lasuduishan Karnatilaka. Yes, Giragama will win the race to the corner flag. No, he doesn't. He's dragged down just inside the 22. And Havelocks with plenty of forward momentum now. But it's been turned over and Navy will be relieved. Arya Pala makes the tackle on Gunasinghe. Here's Kaulati. We've seen precious little from him. The foreign player needs to really create a little bit for his team. That seemed to be a collision, an accidental one, between the arriving Navy player and the Havelocks defender. Just see if we can watch it again and see what happened, but absolutely nothing in it in terms of foul play, of course, but it's just real unfortunate collision. Hopefully nothing's wrong there.
Really hope that it doesn't look as bad as it does from here. Well, take a look at this. Bad bounce.
I think it might have been Santosh Algama or Randy Silva who took that bump. It is Algama and he's up, but the Navy player will take a little bit more time.
Did look like a jammed shoulder. That 57th Battle of the Battle of the Brothers rather, 28th and 29th of February. Thurston and Isipathanam big match, the traditional big match which starts off the March Madness. You can watch it live on Dialog TV, Channel 1, My TV, and also on ThePapare.com. March Madness is really going mad this time around, Chanaka, with the schools rugby also scheduled to kick off on the first week of March.
Well, as mad as a March here is what the saying is, and I think that's certainly going to be us in the commentary boxes, because we've got so much sport brought to you live and exclusively on ThePapare.com. All your favorite schools, all your favorite players, all your favorite rivalries brought to a screen near you.
As for the both of us, the first fixture on the card, Trinity taking on St. Thomas's. Quite early for a Shield game to be played, isn't it? The first game of the season.
Oh, absolutely, Sudarshana. And that's going to set the tone, I think, for Trinity's season, because it's an important Shield for both teams. But also for Trinity to just get one of those big matches under their belt. I would think they're the overwhelming favourites to win that game. But at Pallekele, at home, on a Friday evening, it's going to be plenty of home crowd support as well. And St. Thomas's have St. Joseph's coming up after that in just 5 days' time. So it's going to be a difficult week for them before the Royal Thomia.
Oh, mind you, Trinity will play St. Anthony's on the same day they play the big match with them. So that's going to be an interesting affair, as well as Havies lose a line out.
Kaulati dumping this up for Randy Silva, takes it well, and in the chase is good for Marsha Madhuranga. And now it's straight into the hands of Chatura Senivaratne, who has a little bit of space now on the outside, opts not to use it. Lovely fend from him, stays in field beautifully to Senivaratne. And now the space may open up. Kaulati. Good bust that time by Deshan Vimukti. Ravin De Silva giving it out that time. Another penalty coming. Kaulati takes it quickly, busts away one. Good grab that time from the offload. You'd like to see Kaulati doing a little bit more of that from a Navy point of view. Here he is, coming back to the short side. Musin Falil, an ankle tap by Umesh Madhushan, brings down the Navy skipper. And the ball has been knocked on the floor. So, has been knocked on by the Havies. So it will be a good attacking scrum this time. I really would like to see Kaulati use this platform to just attack the 10 channel. And he'll be the only Fijian not to have a great standing start if he doesn't have one. I'm sure he does. So let's see what he can do.
Right from what we hear, Kaulati is suffering with an ACL injury. Maybe that's what holding him back a little.
You can see that heavily strapped right leg, can't you? And he's a little shy of putting that weight on that right leg. But when you're a foreign player, unless your head is rolling on the floor and your body isn't, you have to play. Here he is. Good fight by Ekanayaka. As he goes towards the line, here's an infield pass to Vimukti. And the penalty is coming. That's an excellent bit of defense from Havelocks. Holding on to the ball is the call. And Navy just cough up. And here's Mithun Hapugoda now. Havelocks have chosen to run this one, but the referee will bring it back. And Arya Pala, like some of the fans, are wondering why that was. Here's Vimukti. Several players waiting to clear. Somehow, Malisha Madhumevan is the first man to get his hands on it. So great play from the Havelocks flanker. And now Sandhu Shalgama will gratefully try and clear his lines.
Oh well, what a miss from Malgama.
Adesha Veeratunga does well to swivel back into play and keep the ball available for Ravin Fernando, who's been really willing to carry Deshan Mumukti, the former Wesleyite, binding down in the front row. That's a good hands from Musin Falil, finds Shatra Seniviratna. Seniviratna still going. Busts off one tackle, busts off another. The physicality in this man has really grown. And he's doing well on the wing. Kongahavatta. Short ball to Adisha Veeratunga. The ball is available now for Kaulati. The referee says play on. Lasin Divishan has come around. Here's Ekanayaka. Lovely work on the tackle that time. And the ball is given to Asmir Fajuddin, who finds Umesh Madhushan. It's a good pass from the hooker, who now goes to scrum half. Just can't get that ball away to Mithun Hapugoda. It's 100-mile-an-hour stuff here. And this is some great rugby. The game is really opening out here in the final quarter.
This time I'm wholeheartedly agreeing with you of what you said. The underlight factor really benefiting the two teams. You don't see many players who have their arms on their hips or on their knees bowing down, because playing on the lights under these conditions is really helping the game to open up a little more come the final quarter of this game.
Certainly is. Players are gulping water, but you can still see them with a spring in their step. Stefan Gregory has come on for Navy, which will add a little bit of impetus to that front row. Along with him, Nirosh Pereira has also come on, the number 26 jersey. Vimukti has stayed on, as has Nimesh Ekanayaka. So I think Chevron will go into the hooker's berth, or into the second row's berth rather. Asmir Fajuddin still having plenty to say to the referee, Weranga.
Surely after that 20-minute dash that he had, he would definitely have plenty to say.
Shows his fitness as well. He's not winded at all. Still can have a conversation. That's the test of how good your cardiovascular fitness is. Ravin Fernando moves to the back this time. The pass to Kaulati is not a good one. Amit Gunasinghe rolling into the contact. Lasindu Ishan desperate to get stuck in. In fact, it wasn't Lasindu Ishan. Looked like it was Dilanka Pereira. Not 10 is the call from referee Weranga, and Dilanka Pereira told in no uncertain terms that he came in from the side and he shouldn't do it again.
Something off the ball that I've noticed, Shanaka, in this Navy outfit is Isur Kongahawatta has become such an authoritative and also a very vocal figure. I don't remember him being that in the green jersey, so that's some improvement Coach Matt Lee has done on this youngster.
Certainly given him a lot of confidence, Sudarshana. Just made him aware of what he can do, what his role is. And he's a natural leader on the field. So only tiny when he played for Isipatana, but still was one of the main players in that team. So a few replacements being made for Navy as well, with Tanuja Malimbada coming in to join Musin Falil.
Interesting change as number 14 for Navy Sports Club, that's Ramesh Fernando, goes in as the, beg your pardon, that's Mohammad Salih going in as scrum half, and Kavulati coming on to number 10, and Kongahawatta moving on to second centre.
I think he's actually moved to fullback. He's in the line, but he's moved to fullback as Kongahawatta. The drive being brought down, but not illegally that time, but referee will have his arm out for advantage, so plenty of penalties. It'll be really interesting to see what the penalty count is at the end of this game. And referee will stop the advantage because the player on the ground, I think, made a double movement. Vimukti helping his ball carrier. But again, Havelocks have been ferocious in that breakdown, not allowing any kind of... And that's the pressure that Havelock's defense has brought on, Sudarshana. Take a bow, the Havelock's defense. They have been absolutely fantastic. They've allowed Navy nothing in those close quarter areas, and unless Navy are able to take it out quickly to the backs and give them a little bit of space, this Havelock's forward pack is not giving them a sniff.
Oh, absolutely, 100 points there. Take a look at this. Gives in a smashing tackle and wanted to take that ball out quickly. Saleh has been the new man in. That was a little too fast to a man who was in close quarters, and Ravindi Silva not managing to collect it cleanly.
So Mohammad Saleh in the number 14 jersey is your replacement fly half. Seru Kaulati probably hasn't been training as much as the others with that injury. He's now in the fly half berth. And that was great work from Gregory. Gregory charging towards the line. Santosh Algama took a little bit of time to wake up to the danger that was actually posing. Is this really happening, he thought to himself. That's a big long ball over the top. Can he get in? Yes, he can. And that was Gayan Vikramaratne who went under the tackle. And it'll be interesting to see if there was a foot in touch here. Not sure there was.
Referee having a long chat. Seems like it was an all-arms tackle. Yes. Yellow shown. So Havelocks lose Silva for 10 minutes. Double blow for Havelocks. 5 points scored against them, and they lose their winger.
Well, that's a huge one because Randy Silva has been instrumental, and now it's Seru Kaulati coming into number 10. Coach Matt Lee will be saying, put it behind them. Cause real problems in the back three. So Havelock scored in the 45th minute or so since the restart, and it's been 20 minutes nearly for the next score to come, and the next score has been an equalizing try from Navy, who going to that 1-point lead they held at half-time with Kongahavatta from a very difficult angle for the left-handed kicker, left-sided kicker rather, to try and make it a 3-point lead. Great finish from Guyan Wickramaratne. We'll watch that again, of course. Randy Silva being found guilty of not going in with a wrap. And it's a wonderful kick from Isuru Kongahavatta. He hooked a very easy one earlier on in the piece, but strikes that one unerringly down the middle.
Yes, he took that conversion quite close to us, and as soon as he connected, you could hear from the sound, like you said earlier, it wasn't good, but this time it was perfect. It was like a cricket ball hitting that billow right in the middle. And Kongahavatta adds 2 points, very important 2 points, as Havelocks have a 3-point cushion here.
Well, that's an important lead. It's not the biggest lead of the night, of course. Lasinda Vishan with his first touch. Now Mithun Hapugoda will attempt to spark something. A little bit of space now appearing for Havelocks. They are a man down, remember. Hapugoda again will go to the backs. Santosh Algama standing in midfield. Tanuja Jayavira. Abdullah Faiz, but it came off the hand of one of the Navy players. It will be interesting to see whether that's a penalty. Yes, it is. Taken quickly by Algama, but the referee will say no, and Guyan Wickramaratne will insist that he tried to intercept that. We'll try and watch it again and see whether there's any malice in that play, whether he deliberately tapped the ball down or whether it was just an accidental knock-on. The referee making a very clear indication there that he views it as a deliberate knock forward. Havelocks will go to their tried and tested method of scoring. They've scored 3 tries of driving mauls, and they're looking for their 4th, of course, for the bonus point and perhaps for the win. Here it is. Guyan Wickramaratne. Yes, he does reach out. There was no attempt by him. There was no ability for him to catch that ball. And that's exactly what you get for interfering. Here's the maul, as we've seen so many times previously today and even more times this season. It's over. It's like clockwork, this driving maul.
First on the ground.
And Azmir Fajuddin, 4 tries scored. 4 Royalists have scored tries. And the driving maul is something that Fajuddin gives thanks to the Almighty for.
Such a familiar side, isn't it? Madhumewan at the back. Madhumewan being the ball. Take a look at this. Madhumewan being the man at the back, and Fajuddin finally touching down. Like I said, 4 Royalists have touched down, all from driving mauls. Quite familiar, not very pleasant memories for me, but Havelocks will nevertheless would be really happy that they managed to take a 2-point lead, and they will bank on Santosh Algama to make it 4.
It's a sinking feeling, isn't it, Sudarshana? Because you know when the maul starts marching on you, you can try your best, but once they've got the momentum, you just know in your heart that this is going to be 5 points against you.
And
Santosh Algama just goes across the face.
Only thing is you can hope that they will lose the ball or knock it on. That's the only hope that you have. But these Havelock's forwards are too good to do that. But Navy Sports Club, credit to them for taking those early penalties. They're still in the game as we enter the final, as we are almost on to the final 10 minutes of the game.
So he brought on even more weight in that Havelock's pack. Tanuja Jayavira, Lasitha Vishan Karunathilaga and Dilanka Pereira, not small lads to come off the bench. They're taking it quickly that time, not wanting to take a chance against his heavies. Line out, Kongahavatta at the back to Chatura Seniviratna, who's done some good things every time he's touched the ball on this wing. Kaulati. That's it's a good pass by Musin Falil, but Ravin Fernando makes a rare error tonight. It's been very good for the Sailors, and he will rue that drop because there was a little bit of space outside. Navy did really well early on by spinning those long passes across the defense, but they've stopped doing that. Miles offside was Dinushan Aryapala. That was a yellow card if I ever saw one. Isuru Kongahavatta already talking about it, and in fact the penalty has come to Navy. If we can watch that again, we'll see what happened.
A little bit of handbags flying around.
I think Navy are frustrated that calls like that are not going their way. Let's see whether there was an offside line created here. There is a tackle. Well, there is an offside line created at the tackle under the new laws, so referee Matt Lee, coach Matt Lee rather, saying someone needs to be taken out, but not sure who he is pointing at.
Right, both chapters. Right, mama tamai ref karana. Right, mata pain de mama allanne. Right, ein to wade mage decision note respect karanna. Right, metana line of side එකක් තියෙනවා. Right, metana punching එකක් කියන්නේ එතන රිටයර් කරේ නැහැ. එතන කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ මට. ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. Right, metana
So that was an offside call, and Dinushan Aryapala is very lucky for that scuffle, because I think as a result of it the referee has maybe forgotten to give a yellow card, and Chatura Seniviratna, oh dear, overcooks that ball. He's lucky it didn't go over the deadline. They will get the ball back via this 22 dropout though, but it's an important miss. Chatura Seniviratna just needed to take his time. There's plenty of time left on the clock here. More than enough to win a penalty and win this game if they need to. But just a little immaturity and hot-headedness shown from Seniviratna, who's a little guilty of that. Hasn't really taken that out of his game.
And also that little scuffle that broke up wouldn't have helped as well, Shanika. Navy feel like they are being they are the victim here, and the moment you feel that you're the victim, it's not going to help you, isn't it? Chatura, we all know, is a terrific kicker who has plenty of yards on his boot. Could have backed him to kick that one and find good distance any day of the week, but doesn't do so, like you said, because he lost the focus.
Guilty maybe of trying to do a little too much for his team. He's used to playing at fly half, so when you go to the wing, I guess it can be a little lonely. You don't feel as involved in the play Sudarshana, so maybe that's what's prompting him to just try and do a little bit more. Abdullah Faiz has been given the okay to play by the medical staff, and he will take his place behind the 22-meter line for the 22 dropout that Santosh Algama is going to take all his time over, ensuring that everyone is a blade of grass behind him. It's taken and given to the skipper. Musin Falil has been good today. Seru Kaulati to Ravin De Silva rather. Nirosh Pereira that time to Kaulati. Haven't really got the best out of their Fijian today, Navy, because of the injury.
Use it!
Mohamed Salih looking for Ravin Fernando. Nice wrap around from Salih. Needs to find some inside support, but they drag him into touch. That's good play from Havelock. Santosh Algama coming in and getting involved. Remember, they're a winger down, so they're defending with one man short. So real tenacity shown from Algama. And again, it's a penalty for talking back.
Too much. Wait.
If you can take a look at that replay yet again, Shanaka, I think Navy could have done better if they opted to maybe try and kick that from the base, because like you said, they're a winger shot from here. Take a look at the back. There's absolutely no one at the back except for Giragam, who's on the patrol onto the left corner of the field. So if they had maybe put in that chip kick, they could have had a better chance of attacking the line.
Yeah, I'm surprised Coach Matt Lee hasn't sent that message off, because I thought that would be the first thing that comes on with the water, because as soon as Randy Silva went, I told you there's going to be a problem in the back three. And if you move someone to the back three, you create holes in midfield. So you've got to do one or the other. You've either got to punch it up the middle, or you've got to put it in between to force those fullbacks to cover more ground and the other winger to cover more ground. So it's a back three moving to a back two, and you really need to exploit that. I think Navy have missed a trick. The turning point could have been when Randy Silva went off with that try, and I think Navy have just not had the experience and the nous to exploit that gap in the defence.
Both teams, remember, are down to 14 men, but Gihan Saruratna also getting a yellow card from Navy Sports Club, brother.
Schools Rugby League is back. Exclusive coverage on ThePapare.com. We will, of course, bring you all those games live and exclusive on Sri Lanka's #1 sports hub. Join us, of course, for the fixtures, the rundowns, the expert analysis, and plenty more on this much anticipated schools rugby season.
That's we are on schools rugby news just coming in. Principal of Royal College, Mr. B.A. Beratna, has been elected as the President of Schools Rugby Football Association for yet another year.
Well, he'll have to take charge of a shining new sponsorship offered by Dialog. That should see the brand of rugby opening up as Arya Pala flies into that, and the referee says forward pass, but that looked pretty flat from where we are seated.
Well, that's only a flat pass in the southern hemisphere. We are a lot more closer.
I think the ball goes a little further forward the more we shift up from the equator. That's a lovely ball. Perfect ball. Santosh Algama, take a bow, son. You threw a perfect pass. Dinush and Aryapala ran a lovely angle. Should probably have cut back to the outside after he took it. But, yeah. You don't need defenses to be good. If you have other means of cutting short attacks. Umesh Madhushan picks up the ball and trundles over the line. everybody's wondering what happened, but all that Navy have to do is go back and face the conversions. Umesh Madhusan, the only one who kept playing, to his credit. And everybody's a little surprised as to how easily that try came out of nowhere. But Madhusan is the man who profits.
Well, that was I think the most interesting try Harris scored this game. Take a look at this. Navy managing to upset that ball. Nobody wanting it from Navy Sports Club. Was there a knock on there? No. Madhusan picks it up. Nobody wants to catch him. And scores is right on the corner.
Well, that's the danger of those defensive lineouts, isn't it, Sudarshan? You've got to be prepared for what if you win the ball. You've got to be prepared for that. And Navy's receivers were just not paying attention at that point. And Umesh Madhusan, like a hyena, pounced on it and made the 20-odd meters to the line. And now gives his team plenty of breathing space. 7 minutes, it's a few minutes left on the clock. 7 minutes left and a 7-point gap for Navy to bridge. But Havelocks have done this one ugly, haven't they, Sudarshana? It hasn't been pretty rugby for them, but they really have managed to win a game in which they haven't played to the best of their abilities.
Oh, absolutely. That's what's impressive about this Havelocks lineup. They're a very young team, but they know how to grind out the result. And good teams know how to grind out the result even on their bad days. And the Havelocks have done that very well. Navy now thinking twice about starting off, taking a quick line out. Seems like Randy Silva is back for Havelock Sports Club, restored to their original number.
Yes, Silva is back, dashed back to the right wing where he left from. And Algama now moves to first receiver. And we will have to start talking about a man of the match sooner rather than later, Sudarshana. And for me, Santosh Algama has really been a shining star today. Umesh Madhusan, Shaukat Lahir, Malisha Madhumewan, all have been excellent at the heavies forwards. But Algama has kept them clear of pressure. But Madhumewan also deserves a mention, but there's a few minutes left. Nicely taken that time for Navy at the front, using that 7th style lift. Vimukti taking the ball up. Kaulati just momentarily blindsided by Veranga. There's a nice bust that time by Navy. Here's something opening up for them. Lovely offload. Well, it would have been a lovely offload if it went to the man, but it didn't. And Mithun Hapugoda will lose no time in taking this as far back as he can towards the opposition line. You can see that Kaulati just doesn't want to play. He's very mindful of that injury, and I think Coach Matley should probably take him off. Perhaps not when he can do that, of course. Even Kaulati on one leg is probably better than the other options available, but he has really been hampered by that injury. We haven't seen what he can do for this team.
So Navy though is just a converted try away from the Havelock score of 25. And like you mentioned, yes, we need to try and talk about a player of the match. I think Malisha Madhumewan was impressive, but that yellow card will stand in the way of him becoming a player of the match. We can't really put our finger to the player of the match given the fact that it's still open for Navy Sports Club. Navy has had some real good performance in their ranks too. This time Havelocks not managing to win it cleanly. For Navy, I think Chatura Senaviratna has been really impressive today, and also you can't really not go on mentioning Isrukonga Havatta Sanake. He's been a real live buyer who's contributed really well for Navy Sports Club.
I think Mushin Falil has had a good game as a skipper as well, number 12.
Bind.
But he's just gone off.
Set. Steady. Walk steady. Good. 8.
Sali to Kaulati. Long pass out. They need to straighten it through Harsha Maduranga.
Back form.
Konga Havatta goes to ground. Adisha Veeratunga is the first man to try and clear the ball. Umesh Madhushan gets out of the way. And Gregory gets smashed back and he loses the ball. Ramesh will try and run this one to try and secure the game. Here's Umesh Madhushan looking for a hat-trick in a bit if Navy are not careful. And now they have managed to find the ball, but Sali has not done well. Here's a little bit of space now, but swiveling is Gayan Vikamaratna, but he does go into touch.
Last move.
So Navy still have another opportunity, just a couple of minutes. Can they do something with this? The only thing that doesn't give me much confidence, Sudarshana, is that they haven't been able to run the ball and score today. Even the tries they scored have come from close quarters, so they haven't really managed to put a finish onto some of the good skills that they've shown us today. They've broken the advantage line. They've got in behind the first line of defense with some good offloads, but they still haven't found the accuracy, and I think that's what Matt Lee will be working on come the knockouts.
100% Shanika. Yes, they've done some good work, but Navy is largely still the unfinished product as they go on the charge.
Good counter-up that time. Tanuja Jayavira. Really will be interesting to see the penalty count at the end of this game. Probably about 20 penalties conceded by both teams. More perhaps. We will bring you that stat, of course, later on once we've been able to analyze the game.
It's not over until the fat lady sings, they say. As Navy go on for another line out, and Shanika, we really do have to try and decide our player of the match.
The fat lady is checking the mic, Sudarshana, and I would think that the way this game has gone, perhaps with the defense being what it was, that Umesh Madhushan also comes into the fray. He won man of the match last week as well. But perhaps Santosh Algama, for the amount of work that he's done behind a good set of forwards. Skesham coming the thumps that one into the stands. And he's very happy at this win. Navy came close but no cigar. And a nice ugly victory, as you would call these wins for Havelocks. They managed to win despite not playing with their brilliant best. And they went to their driving maul. The one thing that really is able to bring them almost guaranteed points. They scored 4 of those tries through those driving mauls. Navy, unfortunately, were not able to get close. And that's not because of the driving maul. That was because Havelock's defense was absolutely ferocious. And they absolutely deserved the win today. Defense wins you games, and they played really well.
Oh, absolutely. When you say they didn't win it, they won it ugly, Shanak, it's not only because of the fact that they won it through the driving mauls, like you said. They were game to put their head down and defend as much as they can, and Havelock Sports Club takes another victory. Navy losing bonus point to them, losing within 7 points, and what will really hurt Navy Sports Club is the fact that up until the last minute they were never really out of that game, and if they had that one spark, they could have gone the distance.
Yes, there were so many opportunities for them, and they will go back and watch that video and rue some of those opportunities, Sudarshan, and they just didn't take the right options in some situations. And I thought just a game management for them when Randy Silva was off, the ability to just put that ball in behind the advantage line. I think maybe with Kongahavatta going back to fullback, they lost a bit of that game management with Kaulati coming in to that position. So he was looking to pass the ball rather than chip the ball over the top. So that was one area I think that they could have improved. I think that's where they really lost the game.
Action of the second half. This was Lahir's second try with Kongahawatta with a terrific conversion. We've missed out on that try there on that corner, and another driving maul, getting another try for Azmir Fajruddin. And we did discuss the options, and definitely I think I'm going to agree with you. Santosh Algama is a deserved player of the match, given the age that he had, and also the control that he had during the game, and the work that he did for Havelock Sports Club in a very, very, very hard-fought victory against the Sailors.
Yes, it certainly was, and I think take nothing away from the Havelock's forwards as well, Umesh Madhushan and Malisha Madhumevan in particular, who I thought were outstanding today also. But Algama, just for keeping that field possession, making sure the balls went out when he got the penalties, making sure he kicked at the right time, moving from fullback to fly half as well, doing two difficult jobs. I think he deserves a pat on his back today, and he's done wonderfully well behind a pack that has done equally well. So as the lights dim over Havelock Park, we will bring you the upcoming fixtures this week. Police versus Army, that's going to be an interesting clash tomorrow. That's on Saturday at Police Park. CHNFC take on Air Force, that's the bottom of the table clash. And Kandy take on CRNFC in what has been the biggest grudge battle in this Dialog Rugby League in the last few years, even decades I would say. It's going to be an interesting one up in Nithavala with Nigel Ratwath out injured as well. Air Force take on Navy next week. Army take on CH next week. Police take on CI in another must-win game, 2 plays 3, and the winner of that will go on perhaps to hold on to that number 2 position. And Kandy take on Havelock's 1 plays 4. That's going to be another lovely clash as well. That's when Havelock's travel up to Nithavala as well. So the Kandy crowd have a lot of good stuff happening in the next couple of weeks. That's it for us from ThePapare.com, from Sudarshan Piris and myself. It's good night for now.
අලු සීට් එකක් දැම්ම නම් නරකයි. දෙකෙන් දෙන්න.
සර්, සර්ගේ පේමන්ට් එක සෙටල් කරන්න තියෙනවා.
දෙකෙන් දෙන්න. දෙකෙන් දෙන්න. දෙකෙන් දෙන්න. දෙකෙන් දෙන්න.
දෙකෙන් දෙන්න නම් දෙකෙන් ගන්න ඕනේ. Whatever the need, a Ceylon personal loan will be ready for you in just 2 days.
Ceylon personal loan? කිව්වා වගේම වැඩ.
Ceylon Bank, the bank with the heart.